Welcome to the Creative Life Podcast, the place where creatives go for inspiration. On this show, we sit down with artists, makers, and creative thinkers to talk about the real stories behind the work, the challenges, the breakthroughs, and the lessons that shape a creative life. Each conversation is designed to inspire you, encourage you, and to remind you that your creative journey matters. My name is Jessica. I'm a creative coach as well as your host, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Dr. Jacqueline Gibbons, and a very, very special guest. So, Dr. Gibbons, who do we have today?
I'm just so excited that you exist. That's good enough, right? So today we're joined by Curtis Reynolds. Curtis is an assistant professor of musical theater at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, with a background as a music director, vocal coach, and performer. His work spans both education and professional performance, with a deep focus on helping artists grow their voice and their confidence. In 2024, Curtis founded Omaha Broadway Bar, a pop-up, high-energy piano bar experience built on show tunes, sing-alongs, and audience connection. What started as an idea to fill a gap in Omaha's entertainment scene has quickly grown into a rotating citywide experience featuring over 75 local performers and bringing people together across venues, neighborhoods, and backgrounds. At its core, his work is about creating shared joy, designing spaces where strangers become collaborators, audiences become performers, and music becomes a bridge for connection.
And I think that Omaha is so much better off because you are in it. And I am so excited for today. I'm fangirling, and we should be, as we should be. And Dr. Gibbons, how about you do the honor of kicking us off with the first question?
I don't know how you're going to do it with all of your amazingness, but give us 60-second elevator pitch, you.
Sure. So Omaha Broadway Bar is a hybrid mobile piano bar and theatrical cabaret that travels around the Omaha metro area, featuring local performers bringing high energy performance to intimate spaces that everyone can enjoy. Was that 60 seconds? Maybe a little bit.
Wow. You did a good job. You've done this before.
Actually, to steal your blurb, because yours was also very good.
Wow.
I do what I can, and I mispronounce things. It's just me.
It makes our real blooper bar really nice.
I'm the highlight of the blooper reel, yes. So you've had a career in performance, teaching, and directing. So what is the thread that connects all of those for you?
Yeah, I was thinking about this today because I do love performing and teaching all these things kind of equally. And I think there's an element of presence. When I'm teaching one-on-one, which I love to do, I have a private voice studio as well. That is an hour I get to spend with someone and create a moment with them. And when I'm doing Broadway Bar, which can be, 20 people up to 80 people in a room sometimes more, that's also creating a moment of shared presence, which I think people are kind of desperate for in these times. So we're starting off very philosophical, but I do believe that is a through line of my work and why Broadway Bar has been so resonant with people.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that. I do think, so there's difference. There's your personal space, second spaces, third spaces, but fourth spaces is something that is an emerging trend, especially in trend lines with vocabulary, meaning that there's spaces you think your libraries, your parks, places that you can coexist, but fourth spaces are places that you can coexist with the mindset of community and connection. And so as you were saying, that people are really hungry for this. And I think that we went so far into the digital that people are just craving the analog. They are like, we know what the dopamine cycles are. We know what the algorithms are. And even with content creation, like we don't want that perfect, like, is this AI? Is it not AI? So I love the fact that you are creating a place where people who want community can find it, and it's in different venues. So you can't say, I don't want to drive 15 minutes to this place. Just wait the next week and it'll be 5 minutes, right? So it is really beautiful that you're doing that. So before Broadway Bar existed, what were you noticing was missing in Omaha's creative or nightlife scene?
Sure. I mean, well, quite literally, when I moved here, I just noticed that there wasn't a physical piano bar, and that is something I used to do on cruise ships and on the East Coast when I was living out there. I grew up in very rural Nebraska, so I had no idea what a piano bar even was until I moved to New York and someone told me, hey, I think you might be good at this. So I still hadn't put it together that I, could sing and play the piano as a job. And so I did that for a bit. I went to get my master's and started teaching in college. So I kind of put that on the back burner. And I miss performing. I love teaching. I found out that I loved teaching, but I wasn't performing as much. And so when a job opened up in Omaha to come teach here, I was still looking for that creative outlet on the side. And I noticed that there was, of course, there's a lot of theater in Omaha, which I love as well, but there wasn't really that type of fourth space, piano bar space. And so I noticed downtown, I was at Mr. Toad's Pub one evening, and I noticed that there was a piano in their back room. And I knew someone who knew their manager, one of those roundabout ways, and basically convinced them to let me play a set one night. And I demanded two of my friends be there to listen to me play Pippin on the piano. And it just kind of grew word of mouth. But it started just by literally noticing there wasn't a piano bar and kind of just wanting to create it for my own, not selfish reasons, but just for an outlet for myself.
No, and I love that you did that because we used to have one out on 114th and Dodge.
Right, I think I heard
Yes,
about that.
I remember that. Those were in my partying days. All right now. And so it is so beautiful because when that left, you're right. We lost something. But I love the fact that you took the risk to bring something back and that you've always been in tune with yourself. Like you said, you were in Nebraska, a rural place, and you went to New York, and then you were open to new experiences. But then also what you're saying is like, there was a job in Nebraska, but I also had this calling, like there's this piece of me that wanted to do something else. So I love the fact that you didn't ignore it. You didn't like yell at it, but you just let it simmer. And then you found the opportunity and you took it. And for creatives back at home, sometimes you have to do that. You have to take the leap. Yeah.
Also, as a teacher, I was determined when I started teaching to not let the performer side of me go, because I wanted my students to also know that I was walking the path with them. Like, they probably want to see me doing the thing I'm trying to teach them how to do as well. So it was important that I try and keep both tracks going.
No, that's wonderful. That's authentic, right?
Yes. And since you mentioned Pippin, all I can think is that gotta find my corner in the sky, and that's what you did. You've created your corner in the sky.
Corners all over now.
Yes, you have really expanded it. I love your venue diversity.
Now I can't get Pippin out of my head.
I'm so sorry about that.
I'm not. I'm sorry. So why do you think so many people are gravitating towards this? Why are they craving this?
It's something I've thought about a lot, and it's been interesting to have performers or our groupies that follow us around to different venues reflect back to me why they enjoy Broadway Bar. Because like I said, I started it as just a creative outlet for myself simply because I enjoyed that type of entertainment. Believe it or not, I'm a bit of an introvert, and I'm not one to select to go out on the town. And when I do want to go out, I kind of wanted to go to something like this that's intimate, entertaining, somewhat casual. There's still an element of formality to it. So quite simply, I was trying to create an event that I would enjoy going to. So that's something I enjoyed, and other people seem to respond to that. It's not overstimulating. There's still an element of connection in the room. I think people like it because it's a step above karaoke, and it's also not quite going to the Orpheum to see a show or any other theater in town. It's somewhere in between. There's a social aspect, there's an artistic aspect to it. There's even a networking aspect to my performers who get to be in a room with maybe other people that they know of in the theater community, but they never really get to meet or work with unless they would commit to, a long rehearsal process. So that seems to be another thing that people enjoy is it's these more medium stakes performance opportunities that don't take a long rehearsal process but still feel elevated and produced. So there's a lot of layers, I guess, of why people enjoy it. And they get to perform dream roles. They do songs they wouldn't get to do otherwise. So it's just, there's a lot of layers, and I'm still discovering more that people reflect back to me.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. So there's a couple of things I want to throw out there. One, you talked about the community, the people who come. Then you also highlighted the community of the people who perform.
Yeah.
You are a conduit, right? The Omaha Broadway Bar is becoming this conduit for multiple layers of connection. And also, like you said, they get to do different roles that they may or may not. I mean, the organization is going to choose, okay, here's our selection of plays. You know,
Right.
many of the organizations have released their seasons. So here's what it is. And even if you audition for the role, you might not get it. However, with the Omaha Broadway Bar, maybe they're going to experiment with a different look, a different feel, you know, a different genre than they normally would have. So I love how you are showing that, yes, we have our groupies that come and follow us everywhere, but then we also have our artists that are maximizing on this opportunity to grow professionally.
Yeah, there's this internal community. I checked today, we have, I think it's 125 people now in our internal performer group of people who performed at one point in time with Broadway Bar, including some musicians, Omaha and Lincoln. And so it's really fun. And I realized that part of my teacher brain is also associated with Broadway Bar because I'm still coaching people and I brainstorm material for people. It's kind of a mixture of them bringing songs to me or me. Once I get to know their voice in a way, I can be like, hey, do you know this song? And encouraging them to get out of their comfort zone a little bit. And I think people feel comfortable enough in this environment. Another reason people might feel comfortable here is that it feels very safe and supportive in an art form that can notoriously feel competitive just by the sheer nature that there are only so many spots and you may not get the role that you felt very right for. So I'm glad that people feel comfortable trying on new material that they might not get to do on stage or otherwise.
Absolutely.
And it's true because performing is highly vulnerable and competitive. And then there's the divas and, you know, and all of that. But so to take all of that and to create a space where it's not competition, we're all enjoying each other. And all of the non-professionals get to sing along too because they love it. And they're not just singing it in their shower. Right. They're singing it along with other people who also love this song. And it's, we were talking before the show about, maybe a song that you haven't heard forever, but all of a sudden, if it plays, you remember every single word. And so you're creating memories while allowing people to remember fondly back to times when they first experienced that show or that song. What? I need to get on this.
I know. I'm telling you, it is actually on my list. I was talking to someone off camera and saying like, we have to go.
Well, I have 4 shows in the next 4 days if you want to come to one.
Right.
Stay on top of it.
So I'm like, okay. This is not on the script, but that's okay because we can do what we want to do. It's our show. Yeah. And so I think that Omaha, not just Omaha, but Nebraska has this rich diversity of art. And one of the things that I am very passionate about is getting people out of their house to go explore this. And so you said there you have 4 shows coming up this week. If you are in Omaha or Lincoln, or if you have a car and you can get here, go and find one of these shows. You did one with 6, I think, in Hamilton.
Brunch, yeah.
Yes, I mean, all the good shows. And guess what? When you're at a musical, so I love Hadestown. I am crazy about Hadestown. I took you to Hadestown so you could see it.
Yes.
And you can't sing. You can't sing in the audience.
That's
People
true.
don't like it when you sing.
It's different, right?
do not like it. But what you're telling me is that Omaha Broadway Bar, we love it.
There's definitely an element of sing along, call and response, getting the audience comfortable. Or even, when we're in these spaces, you'll be singing all that jazz and you realize the person next to you is actually another performer who's going to get up and sing a song. So there's an element of community that way. And then there's also moments where, it kind of turns into, we're going to listen to this one person to sing. But you're so right. You have to be on your best behavior.
You do.
Maybe not.
And I know how to do that. It's like, I can do this. Alrighty. So you built this from scratch, but what were the biggest risks in launching something like this? You talked about being in the bar, asking for the piano, but now, as you just said, you have 125 performers that are in your repository that people have come through.
Yeah.
What are the biggest risks that you had to face in scaling this?
Being the biggest risk was just that people, would enjoy it when it started to get more popular and people were putting their faith in me or, validating that it was a good experience, a good event. And so when I started doing more, I used to do 1 show a month. And when I considered adding 2 in 1 month, I said, is this going to become oversaturated? Granted now, it's up to 4 shows in a week. But that the initial risk was that like, are people going to get tired of this? Do people even want this type of entertainment? So there's been like a lot of checkpoints along the way. The biggest risk I've taken so far was last summer when I decided actually to leave my professor position to pursue Broadway bar and my private teaching full time. So that was maybe the ultimate leap I've taken. But there's been many nets to like half of a net to leap into along the way, and I just kind of had to trust myself. And I'd like to say I'm following the energy of the project, just where it's leading me, and as long as it's positive energy, then we're gonna keep going.
I love that. And there are creatives, so that we have an international audience that comes and tunes in on a variety of podcast platforms. And what I am hearing you say is, one, you listened to your interior. You had this feeling, like your gut brain matters, people. And so you felt this leading, and then you took a risk. And you're like, I see you have a piano. It's a non-utilized resource. And what's the worst that can happen? I'm bringing in a couple friends. We're going to buy some drinks. You'll be fine. But then you realize at some point, I can scale this. I'm going from one, going to two. And then you're also saying, okay, now what's my capacity? You mentioned taking a bigger leap and exiting from the university to do this full time, as well as your own private music practice. And so for creatives, what I'm hearing is that you didn't just jump in. There was phases.
Yeah.
There was a strategy, and your strategy now is like, I am going to follow the momentum and the energy of this. And so for entrepreneurs, that can seem, to me, it sounds more accessible. Then I woke up one day and I decided to blow up my life and do this thing, which there are people who have success stories like that. But I feel like yours is more accessible, especially for us. We're all in different stages. So thank you for walking us through that.
Sure. I mean, it still was very scary at different moments to really trust it and hope that it would go well. And I'm still learning as I go along. It's just a different lifestyle completely. I've had a lot of help. There's a lot of people in the Broadway bar community who have a lot of different expertise. So while it's my baby completely, there's a lot of group support around it and community support of people wanting it to go well. So I'm definitely borrowing a lot of intelligence around me to make sure it keeps going. But yeah, it took a little, I would say there's like 30% delusion involved in like thinking it can, but it's part of it. It's just like the grand visioning, manifesting part of it. It's just, I wonder if, ... And then you're kind of surprised how close you get to the ultimate brainstorm.
I'd like to add to the I wonder if I'm seeing your own permanent place.
So I was exploring physical locations at the end of last summer. I had a few leased spaces on my mind. At that point, we really were starting to expand with different venues. And last fall, we debuted I think it was 8 different venues. And so what I really came to realize was that the mobile part of the experience was really a strength. So like last month we had 8 shows at 8 different venues. So that's kind of turned into where I think the strength is right now, although it's still like a medium to-do list to pursue a physical space. It would just kind of change the whole model of how I'm running it right now. It would be more like a flagship location, and maybe I would have to clone myself so I could go out and do other shows. Yeah. But what I love it is like we get a new venue. You were talking about your husband who might not come to shows. Like we go to a different, like maybe the Max isn't for him. Do you know what I mean? He's like, I'm not going to the Max to see a very good show, by the way, at the Max. But maybe he would like the Bohemian Gardens, a bit classier establishment, or the Durham Museum, in fact, where we're going to be this summer. So there's like built-in cross-promotion and a built-in atmosphere change wherever you go. So I've come to realize that that's actually the strength of what we do.
Absolutely. And then I think you also announced something with Noma that you're doing happy hour series.
Yeah.
So I think also for accessibility in other areas. So Omaha, for those who are not familiar, we do have a lot of redlining that we're still working through. I mean, generations of redlining. And also that has impacted our art. So you'll see segmented arts here and there. But North Omaha has a beautiful art history and tradition. And I love the fact that you're partnering with Noma, because also, like you said, maybe you wouldn't go there by yourself, but you're like, Omaha Broadway bar is there. I can be curious. And maybe you don't want to go to the Max, which you 100% should. I've been to the Max. It's fabulous. And you should go. You should try. But I think that this gives an open door. Like you said, my spouse doesn't want to go. That is a common story. But like you said, there's different venues, but also with venues, it brings accessibility. and curiosity. Like I
And also no
want to
door
know.
charge at Noma. We try and have, we have some ticketed events, we have some door charge. Our happy hours are gonna be no door charge, there's food available. So we really try and keep it accessible as much as we can with coming to see the shows as well, because we know it's expensive times we're living in
It
right
is.
now.
It is. And sometimes it can be exclusive with the arts. It is a privilege to be able to buy a ticket to go see a musical that's coming into town. We know what those prices look like. Even community theater sometimes can be a little expensive. Like we go to the Rose, but you go to the Rose and you need tickets, but then you also want food, and then you see
Sure.
there's toys. So it just
If someone wanted to, like, they
snowballs.
could come to one of our 2-hour shows for $5, and that's all they have to spend, because that's just,
That's beautiful.
so I think it's high quality entertainment that we're providing.
Yes.
Stand by it.
Stand by. I like it. So it feels like you also have personally changed through building this. Can you walk us through some of your personal changes that have happened?
There's a few more gray hairs in my beard. I don't know if you can get personally. So I don't know if you're familiar. It seems like you're leaning into like creativity as well with this. If, like Julia Cameron's Artist's Way series, I did it a while ago. It's like a 12-week series for creatives to like get their creative direction back. But she's all about like listening to the whispers in your life of like what your creative mind is asking you to do. And so when I first did that first show at Mr. Toad's, I just had this like sense come through me of like, oh, I feel like I'm actually fulfilled and happy. Like just like to be like simplify it. I was very happy after it, and I said, I should probably pay attention to that. It was kind of like the same adrenaline high or that flow state that people talk about when they're like doing something that they should be doing that I had when I was teaching as well. So I'm like, okay, check plus there. Oh, another check plus over here. So I simply just said to myself, I'd like to feel like that more in my life, which is kind of what led me to keep pursuing it. But I had to be quiet enough that I could hear that noise inside of me instead of like trying to constantly fill the void, which we all love to do these days. God forbid we sit alone with a thought.
I know. You don't have to. The
right.
media is right there. I don't want to feel these thoughts. Tap, scroll, yes,
Oh, man.
no,
Mind is
all the
thinking
things
on its
I'm
own.
like,
No, something tell me what to think.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you've taken lots of leaps, yet also little steps along the way. Being in the world of performing, at any given moment, flops can happen. So you don't have to go into all the gory details of any particular flop. But along the way, when you've had a hiccup, what does the bounce back? How does that look for you?
I think being a gig artist for so long, because I've been out of school now for like 10 years, out of college. So I've been pursuing this very specific lifestyle for a while. And so I think I've built up a resilience muscle of just like, okay, that didn't go well. What did I learn from that? On to the next. Doesn't make it any easier. There really haven't been any true flops along the way. There have been some learning moments throughout the Broadway Bar experience, but I use that as fuel for the next project or offshoot of what it was. I can just trace everything back. Like I would have a show, even going back to that first show, I'm like, oh, I liked this. I need to fix this part of it or bring in this next thing. Next show I do that. And it just really built on itself, which is why I think it grew so quickly. And so, for example, like I started an event that it was popular, something wasn't quite working, but there were a lot of bones there. And so I had to put a pause on that. And now coming back to the same venue and idea later, it's grown into this completely other thing that's so successful. But I had to like let that be an iteration of it and then go, how do we like take the best parts and amplify it and then make something new? So I've learned to marinate and to let others reflect their ideas back to me, but that nothing is wasted information, even if it doesn't go as you hoped it would. Or sometimes conversely, people will respond to something that I didn't think was going to be as popular as it was, and they say, okay, we're going to go more, we're going to go in that direction.
Okay, that's awesome. So now that you're talking more about your mindset and also about how you use those moments to really, like you said, they're catalysts for change, or you came back to it. And so there's someone out here right now that is craving what you built. You've shared with us how you came from the idea to the execution, hearing the whispers within you, how, like Dr. Gibbons just asked you, like, were there any flops? Well, you know what? There were actually learning experiences, and that was a catalyst to something else. So if someone's craving community and connection right now, how can they go find it?
Well, one, they'll come to a Broadway bar because it's all about community and music. That's right. Uh, I think you have to create something for yourself. Like this goes back, it's not even a selfish act. It's like you need to fulfill, it's the whole put on your own oxygen mask first. You know, there's so many metaphors for this. Make something that you enjoy, and then I promise you people will respond to it. And if not, then it's not for them. You know what I mean? But you might be surprised at how many people respond to it. So when I called something Broadway bar, in my mind, Broadway was too divisive or too, you know, like people put musical theater in a box over here. But I was radically surprised by how people responded. Or even like the best compliment I get is when, you know, a husband gets dragged along to an event, or someone who is like, you know, I'm not really like, I don't love musicals, but I loved this event. You know, there's something about this style of entertainment. It almost doesn't matter that the type of music that we're performing. We're creating an atmosphere. So for creatives who are like scared to take the leap, one, just make something for yourself that you enjoy. And then here's the hard part, is you have to share your work with people.
That is the worst, Curtis.
I'm gonna run out of the studio. You know, I'm actually read Seth Godin's The Practice. It's all, he calls it shipping your work. You do have to share your work. I think the important thing is build a circle of people whose feedback you value. That's also very important, is you get to choose who you respect, who you think is gonna reflect back honestly and kindly. But at some point you do have to share what makes you happy. If you want it to be art, and I think the definition of art is something that changes someone else. So you can make something for yourself that you love, that's beautiful. You can sing for yourself, which I always encourage if you're scared to sing in front of other people. But if you want to live an artistic life, you do have to share it at some point.
Absolutely. Well, guess what, Curtis? This has been amazing. And we are at the end of today's show.
We made it.
So before we let our creatives go off into the ether, can you please share where they can find you, how they can get you on social medias, and where they can find you next?
Sure, absolutely. So you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Omaha Broadway Bar, very easy to find. We're working on a website, I promise you. But yeah, Omaha Broadway Bar, Instagram and Facebook, we post all of our month at a glance at the top of those pages. So you can say, I'd like to go to maybe all of those shows, or scope out your favorite venues.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for tuning into the Creative Life Podcast. And if this episode resonated with you, we hope it did. We know it did.
How could it not?
Exactly. Please make sure to like, to share, leave a review. I think that is the best thing that you can do because it helps other creatives just like you find this show. And we are streaming on all major platforms, and we're also on Instagram, the Creative Life Podcast Omaha, and we are looking at different events, and we want you to get off your couch, stop the doom scroll, and come join us. Until next time, creatives, bye-bye.